Hi, my name is Dale Maley. I'd like to share with you a couple of secrets that I learned that help me be able to steam bend kiln-dried woods. Back in 2012, Rockler came out with a relatively inexpensive steam generator kit, as shown here. I always wanted to try steam bending, so I bought the kit. And then of course you get to construct your steam box yourself, which I did as shown in the picture. Now back in 2012 I read a little bit about steam bending, so I used that deadly word assume, and I thought the process would be you steam the wood 60 minutes for each inch of thickness, and then take the steam wood and just bend it in the form, and then you let it dry in the form. I thought this is going to be fun. Well, back in 2012, my actual results the first time I tried to steam bend some white oak was a dismal failure. It was a relatively easy job because the white oak was only 1/4 inch thick, and I soaked it or steamed it for 20 minutes. I bent it in the form, and I was able to break 100% of the pieces that I tried. Pretty frustrating. I did some more research and I came across a very helpful steam bending instruction booklet by Veritas. And the main thing I got out of reading the book back in 2012 was you should use a bending strap when you steam bend the wood. Wood has some rather amazing properties with respect to tension and compression. On the outside of a bend, that area is going to be placed in tension, but wood can only take about 0.5% maximum change in length in tension before it starts to split. However, on the inside of the bend, the wood can take up to a 20% change in length in compression. Some of my projects I've successfully bent with 18 to 20% change in length on the inside bend. So, how do you keep the wood from changing length on the outside of the bend, yet still allow it to compress on the inside? The answer is to use a bending strap. Now this is just a simple concept sketch showing the idea of a steel bending strap, shown in red. So when you set it up, you set the length of the strap with the two blocks on the end to match the length of the straight piece before you bend it. You can make your own strap. You can use any type of thin steel, or you can even use plumber's strap to make your own. So I went ahead and I made up the bending strap using plumber's strap and the same type of white oak, 1/4 inch thick, steaming at 20 minutes. I bent it in a form, and I did use a bending strap. Well, it got better, but not much. I was still about a 50% scrap rate. At this point, I put the steam generator back in the box and called it quits. In those years after 2012, when I was not successful steam bending wood, it still bothered me why I couldn't do it. So I paid attention to articles I saw on steam bending, and I finally ran across an article that said how easy it is to steam bend wood by the moisture content of the wood. So the ranking from best to worst was freshly cut air-dried wood, or freshly cut wood that was air-dried to 20% moisture content. Then air-dried wood was second best, and then the absolute worst was kiln-dried wood. And a light bulb went off because I only have access to kiln-dried wood. I do not have access to either freshly cut or air-dried wood. And the article said if you must steam bend the worst one, the kiln-dried wood, soak it for at least 7 days in water and Downy fabric softener. So I went ahead and set up a rig to soak my boards for a week with water and Downy fabric softener. I got a piece of 3-inch PVC as shown in the picture. I glued on a standard pipe cap on the bottom so it would hold water. I poured it full of water, and then I put 2 capfuls of Downy fabric softener in it, I dropped the boards in, and then to keep the boards, the end of the top of the boards below water, I stuck a piece of scrap wood in and either held it down with string or tape to keep the very top of the boards below the water. I then soaked for 7 days. This sheet shows a comparison of the processes I've been working with. On the far left, when I first started out, I did not use a bending strap and I had 100% scrap rate. On the middle process, I did add in the bending strap, and that improved me up to only a 50% scrap rate. And on the far right, not only did I have the bending strap, I soaked the boards 7 days in Downy before I steamed them, and I now have a 0% scrap rate. Very happy. So in late 2016, after I learned a successful process for steam bending kiln-dried wood, I was able to make some steam bent clocks as shown in the upper left. Those are 3/8 thick by 1.5 inch wide white oak strips that have been bent. The bottom right is a basket that has a steam bent handle made from the same size of ash that I bought online from Rockler. So in summary, the secrets to steam bending kiln-dried wood are: number 1, use a bending strap. Number 2, soak in water and Downy fabric softener for at least 7 days before you steam bend the wood. Thanks for watching this short video. If you're like me, a woodworker, and your primary source of wood is the big box stores like Menards, Lowe's, or Home Depot, you will always be working with kiln-dried wood. So if you're interested in how I did the projects for the steam bent clock and the basket with a steam bent handle, see my woodworking website. I have complete details on how I did both of those projects. I'll put the links on the comments section. Thank you.